We'll make it indefinite. See if the vote will assess a sum of money, and then have the motion actually announce the amount. And the other item, of course, as you know, you voted to require all departments to cut spending by 5%. So when you factor the 127,000, when you factor in the 5% cuts, which are going to be in the range of 70,000, we're making a big dent already in that 505.
I will make a motion to open the warrant.
Did last spring, did you open it, close it?
On the same day.
For,
I'm sorry.
I remember seeing.
It was to make the special town meeting date in July, I think.
So we could open it, include that article?
I could put the article in right away.
Right, and then we'll close it.
You have to meet separately to vote the warrant after, like Wednesday night?
And then I thought you were going to sign the warrant on Thursday, or, yeah, Thursday. That would be just the time limit for the posting.
Posted.
The constable's coming on Thursday, but probably later in the day I can find out what time. So you probably have to vote Wednesday night, have another meeting just to vote that. The warrant.
We had the article.
The bad news is that in this process, a number of problems are being discovered. The better news is that they're being fixed.
So the shortage went down to 370.
I'm sorry?
I said the shortfall dropped from 505.
Yeah,
to,
until
372.
somewhere in the 300 range, yes. So,
That's not bad news.
will we have enough free, if the town chooses to cover with free cash, everyone should know that that's a one-time fix, that you have the same problem in 2015. But it's possible to patch the balloon in the current year and then address the real issue in the coming year with a combination of cuts in spending or service cuts and other savings, not filling jobs and so forth. But frankly, I don't think that those measures can get the town as far as it needs to go to cover what will be a $500,000 shortfall in 2015. And so, for better or worse, after every effort is made to control and reduce expenses and consolidate activities, which is another item on the warrant here, I think the stark reality is that there's going to be some need to request some revenue, or I think we'll be ready and maybe show to the town what services the town will not be able to afford otherwise. Next year, not this year.
I'll second. Is it still open?
I made it.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Was that for the one day?
To just open it,
To just
put
open
the
it in
one
general.
article on. And I think we may need to amend another article as well. That's right.
Yes.
I understand, the need to have to do this, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but this will be the second time. Is this violating a bylaw? Why do we get to pick and choose, like, which ones? And what if a citizen were to come forward and say, well, this is a good reason to do this, so I say that we miss a day, or isn't that what happened last year? So, I mean, I fully understand that we need, the 170 to be done correctly, but we just keep stating that, we can do this for a day or we can do that for a day. Well, we can circumvent some other bylaws too for a day or two, or one person or not another person, or it just doesn't seem right. I mean, the errors were made, and oh my gosh, this is, every time we turn around, we get some other devastating news that is causing me to have major anxiety. And I'm sure all of you are too. So I share that pain with you, but I can't, I don't agree. So that's my stance on that.
Yes.
That's why I agree with what you're saying 100%.
Yeah, it's hard.
Even though I made the motion. And that's why I didn't support having the town meeting on March 29th, because we didn't have enough information at that time. It's very, right now, this is what we know right now. I don't know what we're gonna know tomorrow.
Yep.
It could keep changing. And that's why I did not support having the town meeting on March 29th, because we don't have enough information. And we just keep shoehorning ourselves in. We're trying to do the best we can under very difficult circumstances. And that's why I made this motion. It's the best that we can do right now, knowing what we know right now.
Yes.
I just want to say too that, I mean, I think just like last year, we didn't have, free cash, it wasn't even fully certified. A partial certification occurred like the day before annual town meeting. So I think that, for me personally, I just had to draw a line in the sand and say, I can't push it anymore. For me, why I would say, and I completely understand with what you're saying, Diane, for me personally, what it comes down to is I know that we are living on a prayer and of the DOR. So if the DOR is telling us that she would, I mean, she obviously is not 100% apprised of our bylaws or whatnot, but if she's telling us that this may forestall any action by the DOR against us, like maybe they'll cut us a little slack with not cutting our local aid, maybe they won't send us off into receivership, like, if that's why for me, I think it's important. I think if this was just an idea we had, that I would not be as, in favor of breaking a bylaw, but because DOR is supporting the action, that's kind of where I make the distinction, but obviously that's a different distinction for each person.
Did the DOR say that they would cut us a break? Because the break date is Friday, the 14th. So that's 4 more days.
They have not
What did she
said
say
that.
about, okay, that's, so I'm not really sure we're gonna get cut a break
I asked
because,
that question.
and what did she say?
She said the rule is the 14th, and
Oh my gosh.
she didn't think that we were going to get a break.
Now I'm gonna have a full-blown out panic attack.
It is not clear at this point. I mean, I'm trying to push the financial people as hard as possible to get their respective jobs done. And so that it's not absolutely out of the question that we can't get Schedule A done. But a fair amount of pessimism today. And everybody is, I mean, as I said, they worked on the weekend. Everybody's trying to get this done and comply. But we're cross-pressured by different rules. I mean, today, for example, we had a light moment when it was around 1 o'clock and I found out about this other $170,000 transfer that was wrong, and I said, well, I could just write an article, and then we both laughed and said, but that would be wrong, because the warrant is closed, so we didn't do it. But now we're in this other pickle, so.
Anything else? Yes, John?
Was the warrant open 14 days?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, then, there's no big deal. You can open it again. Until you actually sign it, you can do it. You can do what you
You
want.
can, you can.
We can, but
You gotta
it is
bylaw.
against our bylaws.
It is not. The warrant was open 14 days?
It's,
And it
when you
closed
open a
today, I
warrant,
think.
it's supposed to be open for 14 days. I just made a motion to open a warrant. It's the same warrant, but I'm opening it again. It's supposed to be another 14
You're
days.
nitpicking something. You're making
That's-
something a lot harder than you have.
Well, that's what the bylaw says. If you want to change it, submit a suggestion.
John?
I just have a question. Let's let Bob speak over there. We had Deb Wagner come in from the DOR, spend 4 hours here and find $127,000. Our accountant's been working on this to close those books since the end of November, so we said 4.5 months. Is our accountant a CPA?
Yes.
I just don't understand how she can come in the door in 4 hours, find something our accountant's had his hand for 4.5 months.
There are 2 CPAs at work.
Are they in time and materials right now, or are they on a
Pardon?
fixed contract? Are they time and materials right now, or a fixed contract? Just another bill coming down the road, I guess.
They are, one is on salary and the other is on an hourly basis. And we have a bill that we need to pay. It hasn't been paid since November. I would say this, that I'm over there watching what they're doing 3-4 times a day. I know that they're working hard at this, and secondly, I know that they're doing a good job. And what we can be confident that when we submit our numbers for fiscal 2013, that they won't get pushed back at us. Because I was told by Jerry Perry, the director of the DOR in Boston, he said, don't submit junk numbers to the Springfield office because we'll send them right back to you and that'll upset the apple cart completely. So I conveyed that to the 2 accountants who are working on this, and I think they're taking it very seriously.
I guess I'm not questioning the work and what they're doing, I guess I'm questioning the timeline. If we're supposed to have them closed by November 30th, and here we are in
Yes.
the middle of March.
Correct.
We've got 2 accountants and
Right.
everyone else on,
Right.
all hands on deck.
Yes.
And then when one person comes in from an office outside here, works for 4 hours and finds 127,000, you gotta start to question, this time and materials were paid for these 4 months and we couldn't find this one
I
block.
understand what you're saying. I know she came here with a couple of these items. She had already found a couple of things like that. What the accountants are doing is somewhat different than what she was doing. She was comparing various actions taken at town meeting and making sure that those decisions were done properly and that those decisions were properly recorded. What Fred Aponte, who is the full-time accountant, actually 30-hour accountant in Harvard, and who works here part-time as our accountant, was doing, basically fixing the general ledger. And some slack I think has to be cut here because it's not just that the general ledger has a number of errors, it's also that the accounting system has been switched in the last year from one known as City and Town to Vadar. The new accounting system is a professional system, much better, much more reliable, and once it has the proper entries, I'm confident that we're going to have another month of pain and problems, but once the accounting system is made accurate and up to date, then I think the town will have a reliable system. And the challenge is simply going to be make sure we have a financial team who can continue to do the job and do it well. The forensic accountant who was brought in the fall is not here permanently. He's here to assist in the closeout of 13 and corrections that have to be made in 14. So this is going to come to a close this month. And on top of all this, our part-time accountant from Harvard resigned today. He'll be leaving at the end of the month. So,
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded. Date when we're gonna close it tomorrow.
Can you have the article done by tomorrow?
oh, sure, certainly.
All right.
Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
No.
Ken?
Yes.
Yes. So now
I've interpreted, well, Articles 1, 2, or 3 we have to resolve, but I interpret Article 4 as giving the town the opportunity to cut existing budgets to reduce spending in all of our municipal departments at this special town meeting, which will help in the balancing process. And I interpret number 5 to allow the town, if it chooses, to use some free cash. As far as the first 3 articles, I was going to suggest that we consolidate the 3, use the term a sum of money, And then at the town meeting, in the motion, we can actually plug in an amount and let it be known well ahead of time what that amount would be. But that would be after the work is completed that the accountants are doing, and that would be when we know what our free cash is going to be, and then after a judgment by the Board of Selectmen as to what we're going to use in free cash and what we're going to ask for in revenue.
Yes. Yep, I think that's a great idea. I know that it's would be best to provide the figure now, but obviously we can't do that. And I think that as long as we have a handout, I'll go on the record now requesting that, as long as we have a handout so when people come, they have the figure in their hand, I think that that will alleviate a lot of problems. Even if we don't have the figure until 5 days before the meeting, as long as when people come to the meeting, they have it in their hand, they can pick it up and have at least 15 minutes to contemplate it, I think that that would be great.
I think we should be in good shape to release a number around the 20th of March.
So we're going for an override for the difference?
That's. Use free cash or ask for it.
Can I bring up something about Article 6, which is the biomass one? I have a letter dated March 6th, and it includes the wording on the bottom, any borrowing pursuant to this vote shall be reduced to the extent of any federal or state grants that may be received by the district on account of this project. Article 6 doesn't have that at the end of it.
These were written by bond counsel, and so we have to have approval to borrow the total amount if necessary. We already told you, we have 300,000 in grants already. We
Right.
are doing this so that when we go out to bond this, we're going to be able to actually be successful.
I get that. What my question is, the article that I have, Article 6 in front of me, does not include the words, the last sentence, any borrowing pursuant to this vote shall be reduced to the extent of any federal or state grants that may be received by the district on account of this project. This article that we're gonna vote doesn't have those
So the-
words.
so-
Does the article say vote up to that amount, or does this say
No.
that amount?
We have, bond
says that
counsel
amount.
wants us to pass an
3.5.
article.
Right.
The bond counsel wants us to, they don't care about the other money. So those are the ones, I don't know why you have more than one version.
I don't know. This is a
What is
letter
it
from
supposed to
you.
look like?
This is a letter from you dated March 6th,
Right.
Right. and it's about the biomass, and it has that last sentence.
Hold on, okay.
The article in front of me that we're gonna vote doesn't have that sentence. My question is, do you want the sentence or not?
We do not want that in there.
You don't want that sentence in?
I don't want that sentence in it.
All right.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Are these articles in order of how you're thinking about putting them on the warrant? My only question is that with the biomass and with the elementary school building project, we're going to have people like, that were here tonight to answer questions for anybody, and they'll be billing us. So not knowing, it would be nice if we could have the the projects go first, just to minimize that expense. And I think certainly biomass isn't going to be, is asking for borrowing, but not asking for tax increase. That they might go a little bit more quickly than the conversation you're going to have about the town budget. So I didn't know if it was possible for that reason that they could be the first couple articles on the warrant.
Yes. I can order the articles. I did the financial articles first, and then went with the school articles right after that. But any order is possible.
Okay.
Okay, it's another question, if you would have resolved that first. For ballot question for Article 6, it says, so ballot question for Article 6 is about the oil, replacing the oil boiler, and question 7 is about elementary school. Should ballot question number 6, it says the town of Phillipston, should it?
Oh, did she get discussed with them? It should say the town of Templeton.
Okay.
That was switched in.
We were voting to accept them.
Yeah.
That's one.
I'm glad we opened it.
Is it the ballot question?
Yeah, shall the town of,
This one says Templeton, you want that one?
oh, yeah.
Ours is wrong.
Yeah, she must have put in, that one, that must be the one that we sent to Phillips.
Yeah.
Oh, it does say town, okay.
But there's a hard copy of one that says it, you need it.
This is just another page.
Right.
We sent the exact same article to Phillips. Maybe they have the Templeton one.
Holly, can I have your copy of page?
Yeah, I was
I
missing,
just
I'm
gave
missing
you a
a
Oh,
clean
here.
copy if that's helpful.
Thank you.
What's that?
I just gave you a clean copy that has the Templeton in it.
So we have to fix.
Can we keep this one?
Yes, you can keep that one.
A couple more. Brief you on, Fire Chief, EMS Director sent over Article 8, which would allow the use of receipts reserved for appropriation. Fund year 1 of a 5-year lease purchase of an ambulance for the department. And then Article 9, I sent that out to you when I received it last week. This would request a vote of the town meeting to consolidate the treasurer and the collector offices in town into a treasurer collector and an assistant treasurer collector. This is filed by the advisory board. And that's all.
I'm sorry, Jeff, could you just, for my benefit, explain where this 57,000 comes from? it's money already been appropriated for that? Can I have an answer to that?
Sure.
Reserve.
Thank you.
The 57,000 would be the first of a 5-year lease purchase for an equipped ambulance. It comes from money that's generated by the ambulance service now, and it goes into a receipts reserve for appropriation account to be used for EMS expenses. And that's where the article was drawing its revenue source from.
So that money is really already there?
It's already there.
And if the town votes on town floor to reduce your budget?
It will be screwed.
Well, thank you, chief, for that. I'm just
All
trying
bets
to,
will be off, actually.
Right,
Oh.
yeah.
Staffing is directly related to the operation of the ambulance.
oh, right.
So that's
And-
why I was nervous when I saw the Article 4. If there's a change to Article 11 from the earlier meeting,
Yeah.
it will definitely impact us.
Well, right, and you've been already instructed to cut your budget 5% this year, so if, again, that's why I was like, okay, well, you're asking for this, but we're saying that we might, on town floor, cut all
Yeah,
budgets.
this is a
So
ambulance
I-
receipts reserved for appropriation, just for the ambulance portion.
Okay. Thank you.
What's the percentage you get paid now? One time we had a discussion a couple of months ago about
Yeah,
having a...
we're close to probably 90% collections. We've got Coastal Medical Billing as a third-party biller, and we've also addressed the old debt, and we put a process in place to go after old debt over 6 months roughly. And that's increased by the first couple of payments, what would normally be considered a write-off altogether. We're now starting to get some collections on that.
What is return from every day we go down to 15 River Street?
I like to call that a $500 bill.
Every time we go down there?
It's not quite, but it's pretty close to a
Yeah, they pay-
$500 bill. Yeah, it's a repeat customer, but
No, I just...
it is what it is. I mean, if they call, we call.
Oh, yeah. Really? I said no. Between that and Forest Street. Forest Street,
Yes. So procedurally, are we eliminating, or are we going to eliminate Articles 2 and 3 and change the amount of Article 1 to an amount to be determined? Is that what we're doing, or what you would like us
Up
to
to
do?
the board.
Yeah, because they're virtually the same, they're identical items.
Right, so
different
just-
dollar amounts.
So just get rid of 2 of them and then.
So that will reorder it.
As long as we have the motion, the dollar amount and the purpose in the motion on the floor, then
Right.
we'll be okay.
And that it's made available to people ahead of time.
Right, the only advantage to having the multiples is it gives the people the opportunity to approve a smaller override, should they not want to appropriate or do an override for the full amount. And again, since we can't adjust the town budget or anything, or opt to use the free cash, if there's not enough free cash to cover it until after these articles, then we could, if we have only one article and it fails, we get down and don't cut enough out of the budget and don't have enough free cash, then we've still got a problem.
I can see that. One of the other items that I haven't mentioned is that the town has over $8,000 in the stabilization fund. So if we get to a point where we're really squeezed, we can strip that account and hopefully replenish it at the annual town meeting from some funds that we would hope to get from 2 sources. Sale of those 5 foreclosed properties, and also the sale of some tax liens. Pushing on that too. The tax lien sale can't happen until payments have been recorded. So we have the file, but it needs to be updated. It wasn't updated. So that if I'm going to buy a lien, I will know that the owner has made some payments. Once that's complete, then we can bid that out. And I don't think that any company will take all of them, but we might get a couple $100,000, which they would buy, give us a check, and in my discussion with Jerry Perry, one of the options for every city and town is that until March 31st, you can request the DOR to update free cash based on revenue that has come in. And I called just to be assured that they would do that. They said, yes, we'll do it, but we won't do it after March 31st. So the other pressure on the town is to get those tax title liens in order and to get out there with a bid and see who wants to buy some of them. And I think we can do that quickly, but again, the time is of the essence.
So should we have an article also then to transfer out of stabilization?
Well, it says free cash or other
Yeah, my
Other sources.
interpretation there is that we would be allowed to do that.
Do we want to, I'm sorry, do we want to put this article after the free cash article?
Sounds good to me.
So can we go through the ordering here?
Yes, please.
All right. So the new article that you're going to add doesn't affect our bottom line at all?
No.
So that can go at the
That
end?
can go at the end.
All right. I think the ambulance request article should be toward the end, then we'll have an idea what happens. Then it can be passed over if, you know, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
These two should be in the box.
So we have 6 and 7, and then we have financial articles.
These two, she has to be first.
I would say this, if we are, I mean, the way this reads, there's going to be a request for additional tax revenue. And if in fact the town says no, town meeting says no, then the fallback would be, and I think we need to be clear, okay, we're going to solve the problem with one-time revenue. But make it very clear to everybody that this is a patch on the balloon, it doesn't solve the problem. And then maybe seek to solve the problem next year. So what I'm suggesting is, if in fact there's going to be an article requesting some revenue, then the articles allowing free cash and budget adjustments, I think, should come after that. Or stabilization funding.
Okay. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I don't see how in Article 5 we can transfer from both free cash and stabilization
Yes.
within the same article.
Correct. Well, that's, although there's a wrinkle there, you gotta have a 2/3 vote
For
transfer out of
stabilization.
stabilization, so.
So that's why I think it needs to be 2 articles. if we
You want another
that.
article? Okay.
If we think that's
Yeah.
something we want to have as an option.
Okay. I mean, another thought in this process would be, we may want to move Article 4 higher up. In other words, make cuts before asking for money.
My hesitation would just be that we wouldn't know the severity of the, you know, how severe those cuts needed to be until we know.
Yeah.
So like if we didn't cut enough,
Right.
we don't want people to think they have to cut everything and then, you know. Or maybe they do have to cut everything, but at least they know that it's the last option.
Yeah, I would agree, let's put the other choices in front of the cuts to try to salvage what we can out of this miserable budget.
So do we want the override to be the first option or the last option?
I don't want the override to be the first option.
It's got to go above, the override proposal must go ahead of free cash and stabilization. Because if it fails, then we have to fall back on that. If the override succeeds, depending upon how much it is, you may need less free cash, or you might not need any stabilization.
Total of 8.
Including the new one?
Right, including the new one, because we're only eliminating 2.
So 2 and 3 are gone, 1 stays where it is. And free cash
Take away 2 and
stabilization.
add 1, that's 8.
Huh?
8 articles.
Right, but we're going to add the stabilization too. Or taking away 2 and adding 2.
So the override, I have all of them, right?
So am I to understand that it's going to be 1, the current 4, current 5,
Yeah.
a new number 6, or a new article on stabilization, and then Article 6, the current Article 6, the current Article 7, 8 and 9.
I thought that the school had asked for theirs 2 articles to be
That's right.
first, so that their
Yeah.
people, are they, I'm confused of what you just said then.
The board would have to agree to that. I mean, I'm not hearing the board say, do that, I'll do it.
Well, we just should
No, I don't.
vote your money first.
Yeah, do the money first, why?
No, they're not, are they? No, I'm sorry. Right. So they'll be paying, you'll be paying them on the clock for all the time that they're there, correct?
Coming out of the program.
So
And come later.
why would we want to keep expending money that's not needed?
Oh. My
So we
money,
just need to write one
spend it.
more.
They shouldn't be.
Need to write our free cash, stabilization.
Yeah, we know that.
Transfer fund.
It'd be easy enough to discuss and go. Those will be faster than the town stuff. We have such a budget crisis. Putting 2, I don't understand. I thought that was already discussed. I didn't know. Because you wrote all of those.
6A is, yeah.
Well, we don't have
He
the
said, no, we have to vote on them. Oh, I can't hear it when it ends. I have no idea what they're
And
talking
it'll
about.
have to be Wednesday at 9:30. We've got to go for
I know that's what I
it.
said.
It's already Monday.
I couldn't take it anymore.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Thursday. No.
Right, but if the, we gotta have the constables in the afternoon.
All right, my thing died.
Well, we can actually do an emergency, but I don't know what we're gonna do with that.
Planning board, no, we can't do that. Planning board, we can do Wednesday, I think.
Yeah.
What do I got? So Wednesday, advisory boards in here on Wednesday. So we could, to have an emergency meeting in the planning board on Wednesday to vote the article.
I know, but it would be because they have people who, they just have to keep paying. Well, we could do that. Or I have to ask.
Okay, so additional article will be the one, that 172, and the other one would be the stabilization. And that's a two.
Cut two, add two.
Cut two and two what?
So cutting two articles, 2 and 3,
Yeah.
and we're adding 2.
And what two are we adding?
Okay, one for stabilization,
Yep.
one will be free cash and the other will be stabilization,
Yeah.
so there'll be 2 separate articles. And then the other is the sewer one that the DOR wants us to correct that vote.
Yep. But that's, we're voting on that today, even though it hasn't been added yet. I'm just asking. Are we saying yes to that today?
We're just looking at the number of articles.
Yeah.
We were discussing having the emergency meeting on Wednesday
Yeah.
to vote the articles.
Okay.
So then it can be posted on Thursday.
Yeah, so we get, Kirk's left.
I didn't hear any conversation.
What's a good time for everybody?
A good time?
Wednesday. Well, Wednesday is the, what time would we have that meeting at? Because, well, what time is the meeting on Wednesday?
7, right?
7?
7
Oh,
o'clock.
okay, well, we'll be fine.
I'll be here at 4:30 to 5 o'clock, but I have my meeting at 5:30. So I got shuttling here. I need a helicopter.
Everybody meet 5:30?
I can do 5:30. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be here at 5:30.
I can do 5, yeah, I can. That might be a little late, but I'll try to get as close to 5:30 as possible.
Alrighty
Okay.
then. Wednesday, the 12th. Yep. Yep.
Are we making a
5:30,
motion?
planning board?
I'm confused as to where we're at right now.
Why?
The open meeting, if you want to show up. And then, you know what I mean?
I don't know. That's all the best we can do.
Are we making a motion? If we're coming for an emergency meeting?
We all set on that?
No, I mean, okay, I'm confused.
All right, I'll make a motion that we have an emergency meeting on Wednesday, the 12th at 5:30 to be held in the planning board to vote the warrant.
Second.
Motion made and seconded? Anybody have anything?
If that venue's not available, you can the fire station.
We have to post it, so we can't just kind of, want to do it at Crossroads. Yeah, genius.
Okay.
Everybody show up there.
I know.
All right, Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Yes.
And can you just answer the question whether you'll move the articles up so that we could save some money on the OPMs, both for the boiler project and especially given the fact that the grant money from the biomass is what's going to be paying for it, and the least we have to use on it, the better. So if you could just at least take that up so that I will know one way or the other.
Oh, shake your head to it, John.
Let me see you raise your hand, Mr. Casper.
Alright, so Wednesday we'll,
He raised his hand.
we're gonna close this.
Okay, so we can't even tell her whether or not we would put them first.
I will make a motion to close the warrant.
I can't hear.
Should be a motion to close the warrant.
Okay.
Yeah, or do we have to wait till the articles are written?
Oh. Warrant closed at
You've
noon.
agreed on the warrant, you
Agreed on
don't
the-
have the language, though.
Right. We've agreed on the articles.
Review.
There are 9. So we opened it, and I think now we can close it. We're gonna vote the actual wording of the articles on Wednesday night. That's why we're having that.
I missed that whole conversation.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second.
What's the motion? To close the warrant. Even though she asked a question and I know.
Because we're not voting, no, he's still not voting the actual warrants.
Oh, so we're not, oh, okay.
There's a motion to close the warrant, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, any further? Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Yes. On the order of the articles. Anything on the order of the articles, is there any, as far as putting 2 school articles first, or does anyone have anything against that?
Yes. Why should that take preference from the other articles? So when they don't feel, they stay a little while longer, they'll bring the crowd to hear it.
People will come and they'll all go home. Well, that's usually what happens.
Gone through that a dozen times on these articles.
All right. We have 9 articles. The override first. Is that how we had it, override?
I think we have the order that the only question would be, are you going to move the other 2 ahead? Otherwise, the order I think that we have here will work for the other purposes that we have.
Can you ask them to come later?
How much later?
Well,
It's really
I mean,
hard
that's
to
right,
tell the time
but that's
that
basically
it's
what's gonna happen. So are you allowed, are you able to
Yes.
ask them to come later?
Yeah.
Tell everybody not to come until whatever time they're gonna take it up, but that doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't, but that's basically,
I mean, I do projects all the time, that's what I do for work, and when we use outside project management and people like that, I mean, we're basically still in the selling part of the phase. We have to sell the project to the, to the people to get the vote. And when I use outside project managers and consultants, I'll pay expenses if they have to travel to the meeting to sell the project, but they don't get an hourly rate while we're in the selling phase of the project.
Our contract is not written that way, and we're trying to minimize how often we use the services to really consolidate the cost. And he's just the OPM, and that's what he does, so anytime you use him, it's an hourly rate. And we try really hard not to use him, which isn't right, but if you can give, it's gonna be hard to give a ballpark about how long it's gonna take to get through all those money articles, which is, I think people will wanna know.
You can always vote to take it out of order.
that doesn't happen on town floor though.
do you mean? I've heard it come up many times on
This
town.
doesn't happen anymore.
I've
People
heard it
don't
shot
like it.
down several times.
Yes,
Right.
it does come up on town floor.
It does.
You can make a motion to do that. It's passed. it's
Still would have to have
failed,
them
it's gone
early,
both ways.
but-
Yes.
Oh, what I would say is just what makes this different than the usual situation is the school is paying for this special town meeting out of their USDA grant, so it's not coming out of, the town is not paying for this meeting.
Yeah,
Yes,
contrary to what, you know, I agree with you, the school is paying for it, but the school wants it. All right, I mean, I think the town, if I was looking at my budget, I'd want to look at my house budget first, so I know what I'm voting on later when it gets to the school budget. Does she have to have it or doesn't she? If I don't know what I'm spending here, I'm certainly not going to vote another $3 million down the road.
What we're doing at this meeting is to handle last year's fiscal year problems. This is
Right.
next year's. So the budget we're voting on is for
Last year.
what the budget,
Current.
for the, right, that we're, have 2 months left in. She's not asking for that money in the next 2 months. She's asking that this be part of the next budget. We have no idea where we're going to be for the next year's
Well,
budget.
That's right, there's your point.
There's my point. You've got no idea where you're going to be.
So we won't know
What
that even
happens?
next year.
Okay, what happens if everybody votes no for, no overrides at all, and then we're faced with a $500,000
Right.
override next year?
That affects,
Or more.
no, we're gonna be faced with that either way.
Either way.
Either way. That's what he said several times. It's a structural deficit, so it doesn't, unless there's an override, we'll be fine. But if we use any kind of stabilization, tax title, free cash, then that money will be in this exact same problem next year
Next year.
anyway. So whether or not we take those first or last, it's not like suddenly we're gonna have clarity and know the financial situation of the town, if, just by putting those at the end.
It certainly helps me to know if I got a problem this year, I know I'm gonna have.
Well, I'm
a
telling you, you're gonna
problem
have it
next
next
We
year.
are.
He said that, we're going to have it next year.
So I think people need to know that. They need to know it's gonna be this much plus that
$3
much.
million more.
$3 million more on top of this much this year.
That's how-
Whatever you override this year,
That's what I know, that's what, no, go ahead.
I think politically, if you want the school articles to pass, and I know you do, I think politically, if you put the town's issues first, you have a much better shot of getting support for those two articles. That's just what
and
I'm
that's
saying.
exactly what I'm saying.
That's what they're trying to convey to you. It's like, I know you have to pay for the OPM to come out, and it's a waste of money and a waste of time. But that's, if you want it to be successful, I think that's the way you have to do it. And if it is successful, the townspeople are gonna be paying for it, ultimately.
Oh, right, obviously.
So that's why I would not be in favor
Comes
of
out of
moving these two articles out.
It's not fiscally responsible.
Dave?
Ms. Miller, what are the costs for him to be there per hour?
It's
Tough.
high, $100 and something dollars an hour, $140 an hour. That's a
So we're talking
ballpark.
$300 maybe, before hours,
Well, I don't know, I mean,
$400,
I've been
$500.
to your meetings.
Well, I'm just
I
saying,
don't know
if
how
he came,
meetings are going,
if he
but-
came, we may not finish that night. We're off into another night, that's 2 nights, I'm just wondering,
Well, this is gonna be on
Who
a
knows?
Saturday, though.
well, hopefully we'll do it all at once.
We better.
It's gotta be done.
Right, right. I mean, it's a lot on the plate, you know.
Kevin?
One thing that I would take a little bit of offense to is I don't think anything that's being suggested is being suggested to help this warrant article pass. I think I don't think that that's why people are suggesting that we put the warrant articles at the end to help them pass.
Well, I think, recent history has shown that meetings have been packed by certain special interest groups to get their articles passed, and then they all get up and leave after an hour because they know they have to wait an hour.
gone
So,
through that many
and I think it's on film, it's probably on
Right.
YouTube.
And that's their choice, they're voters, they're allowed to do it. You don't
Exactly.
decide when they show up, they decide.
Right.
Right.
But if you're trying to build unity within the community, if you're trying to get people to pull together,
Then I want to attack the school every opportunity I had.
no, that's not what I'm saying, and I wish you would let me finish instead of putting words in my mouth. I find it rude and disrespectful.
Me too.
What I was saying, if you're trying to get people to pull together, it's about compromise, all right? These are just a very small subset of the people who are going to show up at this town meeting. Okay? And if we're gonna start the process of healing, I understand that it's going to cost money for the OPM to be there. But I think it's a gesture of goodwill to have the articles after the town's business is done. That's what I'm saying. I'm not bashing the schools. I'm just saying to make it work, okay? To try to help this process, I think you're better off keeping the articles in the order that we discussed.
Yes.
Just for clarity, the reason we wanted to have it on a Saturday, which is why I asked for it initially, is we're having babysitting, and we were hoping that it would be early in the day so that families would be able to come and vote for both. I agree, I think people should stay for the whole, but if it's very long and it starts at 10 and we're not done until 2 or 3, those people are gonna leave anyhow. I mean, it's not, you can't stop the conversation, obviously, in the middle. So it's, you know.
Yes, John?
I just want to, Julie said this recent history, people get up and walk out. Well, people were getting up and walking out in 1970 when I first went to a town meeting, so let's not misstate the fact.
Oh, scared. Taxes.